Welcome to an introduction to right heart catheterization waveforms. In this module, we will review basic right heart cath waveforms. We will follow the following outline, which includes review the components of cardiac catheterization tracings, review standard approach to waveform analysis, review waveform tracing examples of the right atrium, right ventricle, pulmonary artery, and pulmonary capillary wedge position. Standard cardiac catheterization forms have three fundamental components. First, an electrocardiogram tracing at the top of the page. Next, the tracing speed along the x-axis. And finally, the scale along the y-axis. Depicted here is a cardiac catheterization printout without any waveforms present. At the top of the page is the 2-lead electrocardiogram tracing showing normal sinus rhythm. On the x-axis is time, represented in seconds. On the y-axis is the scale representing pressure in millimeters mercury. The values will vary and are typically represented with values showing midway along the scale and at the top. Dotted lines along the y-axis will vary, and in this tracing, each dotted line represents an increase in 10 millimeters mercury. Basic hemodynamics interpretation involves the following. Identify the rhythm from the electrocardiogram tracing. Determine the pressure scale on which the tracing is shown. Note the paper recording speed. Most sweep speeds will be 25 millimeters per second. Note what chambers are shown. Perform quantitative assessment. This will depend on which chamber you're in. For arterial chambers, note the systolic, diastolic, and mean pressures. For atrial chambers, note the A and V wave, and also the mean. For ventricular chambers, note the systolic, early diastolic, and end diastolic pressures. Perform a qualitative assessment. This will involve noting the typical curvatures that you would expect to see in these chambers, and also any abnormalities you might see. We will cover abnormalities in future modules. Perform calculations as required. Valve area, cardiac output, etc. We will cover these in further modules.